Okay, so recently some comrades and I read a little article on instincts, which was written by one of the students of Vygotsky, who is one of the most famous Soviet psychologists. So the student of his, Galperin, he wrote this article, which was based on a lot of his previous work and a lot of the debates that were ongoing about whether humans have instincts or not. If you're just curious about the answer, no. According to Galperin and a lot of Soviet psychology, humans don't have instincts as animals do. We used to have instincts way back when we were not Homo sapiens sapiens yet, but now we don't really have instincts. And that is because our system of interacting with our environments has undergone such drastic changes that the way we react to the outside stimulus just doesn't compare with what animals do. So Galperin suggested this simple model. First, there is a need, right? There is an organic need. And this is how he described instincts in animals. So there is a need, and then very basically, there is an inside type of a mechanism in the animal, which is reacting to this stimulus, to this need in a certain manner. But in order for this reaction to occur, there has to be an outside stimulus. There has to be something that the animal sees as something that's going to fulfill the need. For example, an animal is hungry and it sees food. So according to Galperin, the last stage of this process, which is based on an instinct, is going to be reacting to that outside stimulus. And he suggested that animals always will react to that outside stimulus. They are going to utilize that mechanism, whether it was inherited or whether the animal learned this behavior later in life. They are going to react, and that's it. There's going to be some finishing reaction, according to him, and then the cycle is going to be over. In humans, Galperin says this whole thing is completely different because the middle part, this inner mechanism which reacts to this outside stimulus, which fulfills our existing need, is just non-existent. It became cultural. So for humans, he argues, the first one, the organic need, is followed by the satisfaction of the need using civilized or cultured, as he said, ways of fulfillment of this need. And he's suggesting that this last part, this fulfillment of the need, is always taught. It's never inherited. It's always environmental. It's something that we as humans give to each other as species. So this whole mechanism is different. Our needs, our organic needs, may be the same as the animal needs. We need food, we need shelter, we need water, we need oxygen, etc. But the way we fulfill this need has fundamentally changed so much that it no longer correlates with the animal world because our mechanisms of fulfillment are just so vastly different. Unfortunately, I don't think this article was translated into any other languages. I will include it down below anyway. You can run it through a translator. It is not written in a very super complicated academic language. It's written pretty simply and it's not too long. I know that Ilyenkov was also referring to Galperin on a few occasions. So I generally trust Galperin. I trust this guy. I think that he did solid research. Personally, after reading this article, I'm quite convinced that this mechanism that he suggested is the way we operate, just because nowadays we often see ourselves compared to animals. And I'm not saying that humans are not animals. Humans are just another type of an animal that we are aware of currently, that has the type of self-awareness that we do. That doesn't necessarily put us like above on the hierarchy. It makes us different. We're just different from animals, and it's very hard to argue with that because this is something that we observe in our day-to-day life. Some people do make an argument saying that some humans actually are worse than animals. They act according to their own inner need very irresponsibly towards the environment and other people and animals. And I think that this is true in some cases. And I think that, again, the answer lies in capitalism, because our conditions under capitalism are such that we are alienated from each other. We are continuously suffering all kinds of pains. We cannot fulfill many of our basic needs without needing to sell our labor for pennies. And because of this, something changes within us. And Lacan talks about this at large, and I think I mentioned him on a couple of occasions. And a lot of other Marxists, Freudians, or Freudo-Marxists Marxists, I keep forgetting how to call them, they talk about this as well, like Erich Fromm, who I've always referred to. They talk about how alienation created by the capitalist production is going to push people towards all kinds of behavior that is not normal for us, that has not been established by centuries. It has only established itself in the last couple of centuries. Some may argue it's 400 years, others may argue it's just 200 years. So it's not a long time that we have seen people becoming depraved. It's not to say that people didn't commit crimes before, but we always have to look at all of the circumstances that surrounded a crime and all of the conditions in which the said crime occurred as well. So comparing people to animals, saying that, oh, look at how deprived someone's behavior is also silly, because animals cannot be judged according to human morals, because animals do not have the same type of self-awareness as we do. Animals do not have morals and ethics. They do not follow any kind of ethical code. They live according to their necessity. They live according to their need, and it is blind to an extent. They do not really have much say in what they do because of this pre-existing mechanism, this instinct. They do not choose whether to react to the stimulus or not. Of course, given various circumstances, they may act differently, but as far as we know, they do not consciously make the decision to act upon something. They do not do according to their free will. Humans also arguably do not really make decisions based on free will, but that is a totally different story, because again, human historical development has been vastly different from many other species, and I talked about this before, I think. So if you're interested in discussing this issue some more, let me know. This is something that I'm interested in, like most of the things I make videos about. I'm interested in them. This is why I make videos. And consider supporting me on Patreon. Do take care of yourself and your communities first. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you sometime later.